Hello, it is I, Collisionist, aka Robert Florence. Robert Florence, aka Collisionist, like I said, is one and the fucking same. And here I am covering the topic of censorship and censorship. And as a reminder, I'm just a talking fucking head, so I can only present bits and pieces that I have introduced myself to. Now, these are just topics of interest that I feel the need to talk about. And do your due diligence and research yourself as well. And, I mean, if you're really that paranoid, you could always use DuckDuckGo if you don't want to use Google because it's too left-leaning. From what I've been told, not that it really fucking matters, because if you put the right terms in, something's going to pop up. And if you feel the need to use a different web search, then go right ahead and then you can read topics you agree with and topics you don't agree with on top of some shit on a subject which you can form your opinion on after looking at various sources of perspectives, and then your brain will wanna sinkhole itself and collapse like that condominium in Miami. And of course, that is not to dismiss the people that went through that shit. I have yet to read more of that article, but I said, what the fuck? Of course. Let us begin. Now, there's been various forms of censorship throughout the time, depending on the society you were in and the culture you were in. So, I'm just gonna pull one moment in history. 399 BC, Socrates with his philosophies was seen as an atrocity amongst the Greek society at the time because his philosophies were corrupting Athenian minds according to the public and the court system, because it was talking about deities that didn't follow along with the beliefs at the time. So he got to drink hemlock, and what does that do? Well, a little bit of hemlock plant will cause paralysis in the body, and if you drink enough, well, your respiratory system is done. It ceases itself. And they got him for what would fall into an act of sedition. And now I don't remember what sedition was, even though I read it. Of course, my ass did not take the notes, and here I am presenting this shit to you. Oh, flaw in my research, of course. Like I said, I'm not a professional. I'm not an expert. I just simply like to learn due to an inquisitive mind that I have, because when it comes to taking in things, it is a matter of growth. Just like how I analyze my own thoughts in my own life. And that could come to a form of self-censorship. Now, there have been times where artists and writers, depending on the medium, of course, will either make a news article seem a little bit lighter, or they will simply do what they can to fit in the guidelines because they don't want to be targeted. And that's understandable, because when you're fucking with certain laws in place and beliefs, well, that can lead to such a violent fucking uprising, depending. Let's condemn him. Let's get the guillotines out and start severing the heads just like the French Revolution. So, sedition acts, things against the government, things of that nature. There's an example of that with the U.S. Of course, 1918, there was a sedition act, and then they repealed it later with that law. But a lot of it got repealed. But then, 1920s, they had a law around the espionage, and a lot of that came from the Sedition Act. Because when it comes to politics and protecting your country, preservation and surviving. And how does that fit? Well, in the 1950s when communism and the Cold War was happening, they ended up executing 2 people. I don't remember their names, so you're going to have to look that up. 1950s and the Cold War and the U.S. and Communist Espionage Acts. Probably gave you some terms where you can find it. So, from a war and tactical standpoint, like in World War I, what British officers would do was take the letters the soldiers would write and black out certain things to keep it in secret, just in case their letters revealed anything. And then World War II, the term, well, more like a phrase, loose lips sink ships. And that's justifying a wartime censorship to encourage individual restraint. And that was what the War Advertising Council in the U.S. they coined it. And then religion. Oh boy, that's a fun one because there's various forms of it. From learning about how in forms of Islam you can't depict Muhammad in certain countries because that's illegal. And then let's take it back further. Hell, maybe, I don't know, fucking further, whatever. I don't give a fuck about the timeline. It's all in the past right now when these were built. Just as I'm talking right now, it's in the past. So, 1633, the Roman Catholic Inquisition. Oh boy, how they prosecuted on heliocentrism. And what is that? Well, that's what we follow today with the planets revolving around the sun, because they thought it was the other way around. And when Galileo Galilei was advertising such, he didn't come up with the concept, but he followed it and advertising it. Well, guess what? He got prosecuted too. Now, I don't remember what happened to him, so you'll have to look that up. And, of course, in Henry II of France, 1557, bringing the death penalty for all convicted of the sacramentarian Christians at the time. What they were is they were against the Catholic ways at the times, and also against the Lutherans at the time. All Christians fighting against one another. How cute. And when you learn more about it, people will fight within their own branches, within their own society, on what's right and what's not. Now, I do believe in some forms of censorship, like a rating system, so I at least know what fucking content I'm getting, because I do have a child. And then upon which I deem okay, I will introduce the Sir Fun-Size Florence. Now, I will encourage him when he's older to research things, of course, just like I did earlier. We will discuss it, even things we don't agree with on topics. Their viewpoints may be different to what we see, but it's still good to give a well-rounded opinion, of course. And then, of course, it comes to epistemology. I'm probably mispronouncing that with, you got belief. How does it work for you? How did you even come to that belief? And can you even justify that as fact? Does it really work? And then you look into philosophies and realize that's only going to work in certain scenarios. Because what is life? Whatever you fucking make it out to be, a learning experience in my mind. So, moving on. We do self-censorship all the time because presenting ourselves in society could mean we're breaking something. And of course, our reputation. Oh boy, and then the copy, picture, and writer approval. Can't use my image. I'll just pull one from that. how celebrities, depending on who you are, they want a say in what picture you're gonna use. Oh yeah, what would be approving of that? And then as far as the writing goes, the writer ones, well, certain publications will come after your fucking ass, depending on what you write. So they will form something to where they can control the truth, of course. See how fucking dirty and scummy this is? And I thought my makeup job was a fucking horrible facial gone wrong, but shit, all this type of bullshit just leaves so many different shades of shit that I just might as well be a dung beetle of all nothing. And then it's just gonna roll back and crush me and carry me to a fucking grave. Cause what's it mean in the end? I don't know. This shit will just fucking change, because when it comes to a belief in a view, someone's gonna rise up and go against it. Just like learning the difference between slander and libel and that. What? Slander, of course, from what I read, is shit you say out loud and made with malicious intent and not based on facts against a public official, and they can get your ass for that as long as they can prove it's an act of malice. And then the libel's the same way, but it's like memes and shit where you write and write and write and write. Basically, one you talk out loud, the other one you write and make an image about. Wow. Making bullshit acts to hurt their reputation. Now, of course, there's the false light, which is a technicality, of course. If you just hurt their feelings. And, well, if you just stretch the truth a little bit. If you get some things wrong, it's alright. As long as there's truth in there. As we've seen with sound bites. Oh, how the media will affect that. And, yes. Then you got your reverse censorship when it comes to a fact that was made. And then what they do is get these trolling accounts or these bots to just start smothering all the info and data, and then all of a sudden now that could become a fucking belief, as we've seen with QAnon and the Capitol Hill incident. Oh, this censor shit is fucking something else. And then you got your algorithms, of course, that I got hit by for saying vaccinations. Probably because I put it in the fucking title and just listed me right then and there, and I went against the acts of the World Health Organization after I made a joke of heavy metals and fucking whatever else that those QAnon people were against. Heavy metals and microchipping on the vaccination. Yes, I did make a mockery of that. Because I am for medical advancements. Of course, I'll wait to see how the majority of the public responds to a vaccine. I'm one of those types. I gotta see first. So, and to me, to go against that, I'm dancing on the diseased bones of the past. The people that died, that we've read about in history, which I don't feel like fucking listing right now. However, it's nice to know that certain preventable diseases just pop up now. When we almost reached herd immunity because anti-vaccine. And a redacted article, well, not redacted, but the pulled article from old Andrew Wakefield back in 98 or 99 with the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. Oh shit, he's going on about this. Yes, since my other video got pulled, since I was a form of algorithm censorship. And they like to, I've noticed the anti-vaxxers like to use that, the Lancet publishing from him, Wakefield in 98, and then he gets nailed for fraud after investigative shit started happening from a journalist in 2004, and then 2010 it was removed based on fraud and other shit manipulating the data to get funding, and from what I heard, he's still defending that. So, when you get vaxxers, anti-vaxxers in a place, of course an outbreak can happen too. And That being said, when it comes to censorship, really depends on the scenario and what I'm for and what I'm not. And then the algorithms are only as good as the data put into it. And then when I looked up algorithms, it took me back to fucking Babylon and shit. And I said, oh fuck, here we go. I don't have time for this. Now I will say I had to take a break and use a form of self-censorship because this shit, when going down a rabbit hole, can easily make you delusional and paranoid. Especially when you're looking up cybersecurity too. Oh fuck. So, self-awareness and examining thoughts and things of that nature. I had to pull out a lot of things and then give myself a break. But I just wanted to present a bit of the censorship shit. And then if it, well, tickles your senses in any way, you too can explore the vast fucking information of it all. Let's not forget how the media censors, how certain groups and areas will want to censor books as well, because it doesn't fit within history anymore, because we want to make it all whitewash and hide all our atrocities. I don't think anyone would really appreciate that, any culture when looking back at it. We're humans. Survive. Coming together helps, but there's a survival mentality, so inevitably people will get snuffed out. It will be silence, and in that silence something will come, a voice from nowhere. Now, I'm sure there's other cultures out there that we may not be even aware of to this day. So before I make this video any fucking longer, I'm going to cut it off there, and I will say algorithms again. It depends what you program into and how well it is. And then there's been studies on saying how even the algorithm could be biased because it depends on the data you fucking feed it, and then the data it will use. So there was a thing of sexism and racism as far as hiring processes can go. Like I said, it just keeps going. So, with that being said, it's done. Like I said, always, you're doing the best you can. And I always encourage learning. Doing the best you can in the moment, because life is nothing but a learning experience. And now I'm going to listen to a philosopher that apparently is dark than the other more known ones because of some devilish shit. And that's all I got, as I exhausted myself of this topic. I'm tired now. And then, whatever topic do I feel like coming up with? Well, I believe my next one is going to be looking into, well, what happens to your senses when certain stimuli is cut off? Hearing, sight, just like how sleep paralysis can do certain things. That will be the next topic. And on that note, I'm out.